so that when you open your bonnet, when your mates are around, they don't realise that you've got a pathetic three-cylinder.
Do you know, and can I just ask, there's one other question, you don't know. There's one other question, because it kept cropping up when I was choosing my car. How big is the fuel tank in this?
10 gallons.
10 gallons, and it's 74 miles to the gallon, 740-mile range.
Yes.
How far's Blackpool?
750 miles, I think, isn't it?
So there you go. And you?
Well, hang on a second. Yeah, what can you expect?
Well, theoretical range, 706 miles.
Not far enough.
Well, 655.
Right.
I told you, it's pointless. It's a pointless challenge.
Nevertheless, in the very early hours of the following morning, we assembled at a Swiss filling station to fill our tanks and make some final checks. Richard made sure his tyre pressures were correct, because if they were even slightly down, it could cost him 20 miles. And I taped up my cracks. This might only be worth 200 yards, but the last of the journey is 400 yards long. Jeremy, meanwhile, confident of failure, was having breakfast.
Those two are taking it so seriously.
With the tanks brimmed, the filler caps were sealed with impenetrable gaffer tape. And then at exactly 11 minutes past 4, we were ready for the off.
This is it. I won't start the car until the last minute.
That has to be the dullest start to any Top Gear race ever. In fact, any race in history.
I don't know if you're looking forward to Top Gear tonight, or do something else on somewhere. In fact, there was only one man in Europe looking forward to 17 hours of mental arithmetic.
60 miles per gallon. My average so far over 5.1 miles has gone up to 50. Clarkson is slow with 44.7.
But before you switch over to heartbeat, consider this. This is a very clever race, because there's that balance between, well, getting there, so that means efficient driving, and speed, because there's no point getting there too late to do it. There's no point getting there when James has already said, I declare these lights off.
Weirdly, we'd all chosen different ways of getting from Basel to the Channel. Richard had opted for the shortest route through towns, villages, and worst of all, the Vosges Mountains. But this didn't seem to worry him.
If there's the odd hill, it doesn't matter because you've got to go up, but then you've got to come down again. I'm going down to sea level to the tunnel. It'll average out, and this is all about averages, it'll average out as downhill.
My route, past Strasbourg and Metz, was 30 miles further than Hammond, but there'd be fewer hills and, hopefully, less traffic.
Thinking ahead is what it's about. Planning so that I don't brake unnecessarily, because what is not understood is that braking effectively wastes fuel. It turns the kinetic energy of the car into heat.
As James did science, Jeremy was heading in the wrong direction. He'd elected to stick to the motorways, which meant his route was 836 miles, almost 200 more than the Jag could do.
And that means I'll run out more quickly, and then I'll just check into a little pub, have a juicy steak and go to sleep. You may have noticed there that I was wearing a high-visibility jacket. Very good reason for this. It's because the French recently and very quietly introduced a law saying you've got to have one of these in your car at all times. Maybe we should introduce a law saying that you've got to have onions in the boot of your car. Don't announce it and then just find every Frenchist who arrives in Dover without any. As we drove through the darkness, my pessimism began to spread.
Average 64.6, that's not enough. It's just not enough, I won't do it.
Instant fuel consumption went down from 65 miles per gallon to 52, and that's not good enough. No, it's uphill. Oh, God.
Dawn broke over our dreary race.
Right, I'm doing 55 miles per gallon. It's not good enough. Relax. I'm tensing up. Okay, relax. Hammond won't get to do this. I'm too angry.
I'm on an economy drive, saving the planet, and you, in your bus with nobody in it, pulled out in front of me and made me slow down. I had to use my brakes, and then I've got to accelerate again, which uses more fuel.
I too was having problems in the Jag. How can a V6 twin turbo in a car that's 375 yards long possibly be doing 49 miles per gallon? 49.1! It's going up! At this rate, I'd be running out near Birmingham rather than on my doorstep. It was therefore time to break out the heavy foot.
Here we go. Don't want to get too hot because, of course, I'm not going to put the air conditioning on. Some people calculate that it can reduce your efficiency by about 10%.
That's fine by me, mate. I've got everything on, air-conditioned seats. I'm even heating the passenger seat for no good reason other than to burn fuel. Despite being in France, I even powered up the radio.
After 3 hours, the little Polo was off the A roads and on the motorway. I was a few miles ahead of Hypermiler Mate,
69 miles per gallon.
but way behind Hyperspacer Clarkson.
81 miles an hour.
Amazingly, my car was now doing 78 mpg, but I had a new problem.
My average MPG now is enough. I can make it, but my average speed, I won't make it in time.
Frankly, it didn't look like any of us were going to be turning on the lights that night.
1, 2, 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from BBC Two's Top Gear, please welcome Nobody.
Meanwhile, many miles to the north, the people of Blackpool were waking up to their big day, unaware that us three wouldn't be there. However, having known all along that this was a possibility, the show's producers had sent backup.